Selamat tengah hari. Selamat tengah hari saudara-saudari sekalian. Pilihan yang diberikan oleh saudara Yam tadi adalah untuk berucap dalam bahasa pilihan. Jadi hari ini saya berhasrat untuk berucap dalam bahasa Tamil. Can I speak in English or Malay?
Tamil is better. That's what I want to ask. I want to ask.
Locak, campur-campur.
How?
Can be mixed. Yes, I think it can be mixed.
English or Malay?
Mix.
Malay English, okay, mix, huh? Okay. I did a calculation and it shows that today is the 470th day of Pakatan Harapan taking power in Putrajaya. For most of us, it was a dream come true lah. It was a dream come true for a true multiracial Malaysia. There was very high expectations, in particular among the Indian community, and the first few steps that Mahathir did as the Prime Minister was he appointed, which caused the wow factor among the, in particular the Malaysian Indians, in particular the Malaysian Indian poor, which we categorize as the B75. In particular was the appointment of four supposed Indian ministers into the Malaysian cabinet, which was unprecedented. Okay, number one. Number two, there was a deputy minister in charge of rural and regional development, which is normally reserved for the Malays. And then we had another thing that was unprecedented was the appointment of Lim Guan Eng as the finance minister. That was unbelievable. Of course, the last was Tun Tan Siew Sin in the immediate period after independence. And then we had Gobind Singh, who was the multimedia minister. I think it's in effect the information minister. Am I correct? De facto information minister, which is normally reserved for the UMNO information chief. Datuk Muhammad Rahmat was in the position for many years. And then another development that I saw offhand was the appointment of Liu Ching-tong as the deputy defense minister. They will not give it to you, put it that way. You know, that was a breakthrough from the previous UMNO regime. So with bearing that in mind, there was a lot of excitement. The former Jakim was supposed to be reviewed. Jakim was supposed to be reviewed. And then Jakim, Siti's friend, no?
Very close friend.
And then the freezing of UMNO accounts. Okay, that was, to me, it was unbelievable. Okay, and then the crushing and crumbling of UMNO with the three most powerful UMNO figures whose passports were blacklisted. They could not leave the country. The top three, number one, number two, and of course the number three was Tengku Adlan lah. Okay, the passports were frozen. So I said, hey, they are serious. Mahathir is serious. Serious business. It's a no-nonsense man. Okay, that was the perception. Maybe hopes, legitimate expectations, you know. And then next is become before the elections, Pakatan Harapan specifically came out with a 25 manifesto targeted at the Indian poor. To me, it's not B40, to me it's B75 Indian poor. This manifesto was in effect the A to Z in solving the Indian problems. You just implement the Pakatan Harapan manifesto, 25-point manifesto. To me, 90% of the Indian poor problems is solved. So there was a lot of expectations from the people. My personal position, okay, I think Yam knows, Mr. Tan, they saw me before the elections, was while I wanted a change of government, I could not bring myself to vote for Pakatan or Barisan, so I did not vote. Okay, that was my personal position. Okay. And then, fast forward 470 days today, what appears to be, fast forward 470 days today, what appears to be happening is that the UMNO era divisive, racist and divisive supremacist policies seems to be creeping in. Slowly but surely it seems to be creeping in. And in the process it seems to be preserving the B75 Indian poor. You see, as a law student in England, I was swayed by the ideals of justice, democracy, human rights, freedom. I totally believe that there was law in this country, that people follow the law. Basic Article 8 of the Federal Constitution provides for equality before the law. The law says all citizens are equal. And Mahathir's first few moves were in that direction. No doubt about that. Okay. Okay. Then, now these are the few things that we did on our part. Of course, to cut a long story short, I was introduced as the de facto leader of Hindraf 2.0. Like most countries, Malaysia successfully crushed the Hindraf movement through various means, various ways. Like CPM was crushed, okay? They've got big budget, and they've got specific, unlimited budget, I was told, to crush movements lah, okay? So whatever little we could do, we do from our end. And one of the first things that believing that Mahathir, of course I did not vote for them, okay? I did not vote for anybody, but believing that something good will happen, in helping Mahathir to implement the 25-point manifesto targeted at the Indian poor, we wrote to Dr. Mahathir by our letter dated 14th of May 2018. Okay, we wrote to Mahathir basically within days. Within 14th is what? Within 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Within 5 days, we wrote to Mahathir offering myself to be the Director General of the Implementation and Coordination Unit to help implement the 25-point manifesto as they promised. We are not asking for anything new. What Mahathir promised in his manifesto, we will help implement, because over the years, our analysis is politicians, they say, oh, our policies were good, but the implementation was bad. They give you all kinds of excuses. Okay? So I said, no, I want to help you. As usual, as in the previous 61 years under the UMNO BN rule, they don't reply to my letters. I've written thousands of letters, but that has not stopped me. I want it for the records, as Saudara Yam said just now, for the future generation. Now we have the internet. It will be there somewhere in cyberspace. Maybe 1 year, 1 generation, 2 generation, 3 generation. I always imagine that, like the Encyclopedia Britannica, it will be there somewhere in cyberspace. Okay. So for the records, okay, we applied for the job. So a reporter, there was a lot of excitement at that time. Pakatan just came to power. So within a reporter, so we went to present a memorandum. They invited various sections of society to make their presentation, to ask what they want, what they expect of the new government. We did our input on what the Indian poor wanted in this country, and a Tamil paper reporter asked me, there was a lot of excitement at that time when Pakatan came to power. Are you expecting any post, in the new government, I said, look, I'm expecting the post of the Director General of the ICU to help implement the policies of Pakatan Harapan. So I immediately asked her, what do you think? Do you think they'll give me the job? She said, no. I said, that answers your question. But we were doing it for the records. We have to ask. Okay? And the second point that we did was on the 25th of May 2011, there was so much of excitement. So we applied for the registration of HINREF 2.0 as an NGO. And then subsequently on 23rd of July 2018, we wrote to Tun Mahathir himself. Okay? The heading of the letter is Permohonan Pendaftaran HINREF 2.0 dan rayuan penolakan pendaftaran HINREF 2.0 oleh pendaftar pertubuhan. And we wrote tidak mematuhi perlembagaan persekutuan, freedom of association, I think that's Article 10 of the Federal Constitution, dan Akta Pertubuhan, rule of law, which he always claims, rule of law, the Pakatan Harapan Manifesto, dan Malaysia Baru, the spirit of Malaysia Baru. So it seems that within the same month, we applied for registration of HINREF 2.0, rejected. Until today, we remain an unregistered society. And then they arrest you, they charge you for operating as a member of an illegal society. I believe most of us here have been through this era. And then within 3 weeks of Pakatan taking over power, as I told you just now, the proposals to Tun Daim and Tun Dr. Mahathir, we came up with a proposal, write our letter dated 28/5/2011, for 100,000 business and self-employment opportunities for the B75 Indian poor. In my analysis, my observation, they are preserved, the Indian poor in this country are preserved to do the ING work, the 3D jobs, difficult, dangerous, dirty jobs. Okay? So I said we have to come out of that thing. We have to come out. So you give us 100,000 self-employment and business opportunities to come out of poverty. Okay? Because to me the Indian poor has been specifically targeted to be with the view to be suppressed and to be kept at the lowest rung of society. You just take note when you see the Alam Flora trucks collecting garbage, okay, you will either see foreigners or Indians. My point is, we don't need the foreigners. Never mind, we are prepared to do the dangerous, dirty, difficult jobs. Give him the contract. Give the Indian man the contract. Let him do the job. He will earn 5,000 to 10,000 ringgit a month. So a few Indians get together, instead of they going around the housing estates, supposedly they are involved in crime, whatever, other things, okay, you give them jobs, okay, and this was brought to my attention by Lim Kit Siang, say about 20 years ago. We were in a forum. Lim Kit Siang brought to my attention, I mean in his speech I took note, I still remember. He said Indian gangsters came about only in the last 25-30 years. Before that there was no such thing as Indian gangsters. So where did they come from? Where they were Chinese gangsters by virtue of history, Gihin, Haisan and all that. They were Chinese, pre-existing Chinese gangsters. They came from China and they continued operating. But before that there were no Indian gangsters. But where did they come from? How did they come about becoming gangsters? To me, is denial of fair and equal opportunities, starting with a simple, the lowest level self-employment opportunities, collecting garbage. They rather give it to an UMNO crony who sits in the house, the aircon house. He gets the main contract, he gives it to another subcontract. The subcontract will employ some Bangladeshi, some Myanmar and some local Indians. They make money, the first level, second level, they make money from the comfort of their houses. The workhorses, they work dangerous, difficult jobs. I went to Japan. The Japanese, they collect their own rubbish. They get the contracts, they do it. I've seen the same position in Australia. That means they don't get that 1,100 basic salary. You get the contract, I do the job lah. why should I share it with the number 1 and number 2 and number 3? I am doing the dirty job because I did not get educated. I didn't want to study. That's punishment for me lah. Never mind, I do the dirty job, but you pay me lah. Give me the contract, I will do it. The Indians are hardworking. They're looking for opportunities. It's basically a denial of opportunities. So for me, the whole thing is moving away from the UMNO era racism. That's the most important thing that we expected, which did not happen. And then this is official letter, White Our letter dated 18/6/2018. This was a case of in Johor Bahru. I'm not sure which part of Johor. I can't remember exactly. It was in Johor. Homeless. That the heading of my letter, of our letter to Dr. Mahathir and Mrs. Anwar Ibrahim, as I call her. Just for the records, I was Wan Aziza's first lawyer. In her whole life, she had not taken a lawyer. I was the first lawyer when Anwar was sacked in 1999 and 98. Okay, so now that I have an occasion to mention it, maybe this way I get to rub shoulders with Wan Aziza. You never know. So, homeless, partially blind Indian lady.
Saudara, 5 minit lagi ya.
Oh, 5 minit saja. Okay. Okay. So, homeless, partially blind Indian lady. You see, the Indians, they live from hand to mouth, and her husband met with an accident, both legs broken. The lady is partially blind, and 3 out of 5 of her children are also partially blind. So they don't know what to do. So they throw them out. They throw them out of their rented house. They can't pay the rentals. They stay with relatives. How long would the relatives keep you? Okay, and then the local councillor, I believe he was a PKR councillor, he goes there, he does an MIC stunt. That's what MIC has been doing in the previous 61 years. Now it's done by the Pakatan Indian supposed leaders. Okay, he buys 1 month of provisions, gives it to her, pay 2 months deposit for the house. That's about it with the paper cutting, publicity, political publicity. That's about it. So I wrote to Wan Aziza and Dr. Mahathir. Okay, never mind lah. Dr. Mahathir never responded. Wan Aziza could have. She's busy. Okay, fair enough. Her office could have responded to me. Her office could have called me. Look, we have attended to this. Welfare. She's the welfare minister. So to me, if this victim had been, to me in particular, when the victim is Indian, it doesn't matter lah. In this country, it doesn't matter. Tak apa lah. The victim, oh never mind, doesn't matter. If you can disagree with me, but I've got you said 5 minutes, but I got 20 more pages lah. Okay, and then same thing with the Khalid Samad. Okay. We have known each other during the opposition days. I wrote to him, pleading for, appealing that Bersiburo is not demolished. I did a research and say that Indian entrepreneurs, which has been specifically stated in the Pakatan Harapan Manifesto, they will give licenses for Indian Bersiburo. They go and pick the bin lah. They pick the bin, pick Bersiburo, pick old papers. They want to sell. The only thing, they don't have land. They're just starting their business. Don't demolish. And this Bersiburo is in a flat area where people collect the rubbish or collect paper and the waste and sell it to this lady who runs the Bersiburo in exchange for them to buy Maggi mee to eat. So it's 2 in 1. She's also helping the poor people in the flats. They demolish, they bulldoze it. So these were the initial things that we did. And then the initial signs were not there. This was in 10th of July 2018. This happened. And then we cautiously marked the 100 days of Pakatan Harapan rule was on 17th of August 2018. Even the Indians will, at this stage, 100 days of Pakatan rule, even the Indians will scold us if we criticize Pakatan. Because, hey, look, please lah, they've just come to power. Why are you scolding them? Blah, 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 blah. Okay? But today, fast forward 1 year, the scenario has completely changed. And I think that the public generally, we know about it. And you see, in the preamble to the Pakatan Harapan manifesto, this brought very high hopes to the Indians. Can I read this? Sebagai rakyat yang mempunyai hak yang sama dengan semua warga negara lain, sudah tiba masanya untuk semua bentuk diskriminasi yang menzalimi warga India dihapuskan. Pengagihan kekayaan negara mestilah dilakukan secara adil dan penindasan ekonomi terhadap warga India dihentikan dengan serta-merta. Wow. Mesmerizing. Our dream come true. Okay, this was what happened. And then on the 9th of April 2019, the federal court dismissed an appeal, the highest court in the country. I'm trying to see the changes between the old government and the new government. High Court dismissed his application, Court of Appeal dismissed, now Federal Court under the new government. Let's see what they do lah. This person's name is Muniswaran, partially blind in one, or completely blind in one eye, the other eye is partially blind. He's an OKU, he carries an OKU card. A group of 12 policemen rushed into his house and they bashed him up until he vomited blood, sampai muntah darah. He was arrested. So I'm now, I consider myself semi-retired, but when I do it to the end, I push it to the end. At the federal court, even he didn't come to court. Okay? And when he didn't come to court, the judges asked me, I said, why is your client not here? I said, under the Legal Profession Act, I'm supposed to uphold the cause of justice without fear or favor. I'm prepared to go on. Why is your client not here? I said, he's frightened. Why is he frightened? Frightened of you lah. Of course, I didn't say it, you know. Okay? And his appeal was dismissed. Despite being bashed up by the police, his appeal was dismissed. And then the first year anniversary, we had a small rally in Brickfields, about 120-130 people came. Sahabat Rakyat also were present. And then the rest, I think after the 1 year period, the sentiment started moving. I think Tun Daim was right when he said, give Pakatan 1 year. Now fast forward, after 1 year, it appears to be the critical mass, like people started moving, okay? And then subsequently in a forum, in a very small forum in Lunas Padang Shrine on 23rd of June, we gave a paper called Barisan Lost, Harapan Won. But did the B-75 Indian poor win? Barisan lost, Harapan won. But did the Indian poor, did they win? The answer is no. And then a lawyer was prosecuted when he defended his client in the Balai Police. He was prosecuted for menghalang polis dalam menjalankan tugas. To the best of my knowledge, it did not happen under the Barisan National Government. To the best of my knowledge, there are other charges. You know, lawyers have been charged, but not menghalang tugas. We have done 100 times worse things than what this lawyer did. Okay, domestic violence case. The police said tangkap. And he said no, wait for the IO. There was the lady started crying and screaming. She was, you know, blah 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 and all that. Tangkap lawyer. He was detained overnight and he was charged.
Okay, thanks, Uthayakumar. I got one question to you. Maybe this on top of your explanations.
One more last point. Give me
Okay,
30 seconds. I'll finish. Okay. My last point is my contempt of court hearings. When I was in Kajang prison, Lim Guan Eng, Matthias Chang, Mahfuz Omar, Omar Sabu, Anwar Ibrahim, Kir Toyo, and the rest of the Pak Abjal. Okay, everybody was kept in the hospital wing or in the security wing. Okay, whereas when it comes to an Indian prisoner, they put me with the common criminals. They even engaged a prisoner to finish me off. Okay, my wife lodged a police report. Zero action taken. We took this case up High Court, Court of Appeal, finally Federal Court. The appeal was also dismissed under the new government. Okay, with that I leave it at that.
Yeah, you can stay on the session again. No, I want to one question to you.
Yeah.
Based on your explanations just now, saya ingin bertanya satu yang berkaitan dengan tajuk you berkata apakah masuk konsep Malay dash Siap Baru yang anda cuba nak beritahu kepada semua? Can you elaborate a little bit about what is you are trying to say about Malay dash Siap Baru? I think this one is what we want to know.
See, I was always trying to hide behind Malay dash here, but today you've caught me with my pants down.
This is on your
See, for me, it's becoming Malay-centric. The whole thing, the UMNO era, racism, supremacist policies, racist policies, we are back to square one. Okay, so that is my meaning when I say Malaysia. See now they've got it on record already. Now got it. Okay.
We have freedom of express no already.
No, but freedom after expression, we have.
So this is what you are trying to say is all about Malay
If
hegemony.
you notice now they're using the multimedia and communication. You see, if this what I said now doesn't go viral, you are quite safe. If it goes viral, and then they'll pick you up. So which do you want? I don't know.
This is what you are trying to say on your table, on your topic. That's why I'm very interested on that one. Anyway, you still have 5 minutes to go on. Okay. Yeah. To summarize
So, to summarize, I have one more last point which I just added on, which is not, it is my latest paper, not the one I sent earlier. I'm sure you would have read the case of this is the latest news. It's been going on quite active in the WhatsApp messages, Facebook and all that. It's been going quite viral. You ask me now personally, I'm more frightened of the new government than the old government when I write. Honest opinion, yes. I read my letters 20 times before I do anything. Okay? Because to me, I don't want to go back to jail again. I served 2 years under Kemunting, 2 years in Kajang for sedition. And this time I go, I don't think I'll come out alive. Ahmad Morsi, the president of Egypt, can die in prison. It can happen to anybody. And leave it at that. So this case now, on the 17th of September 2019, I wrote a letter to Dr. Mahathir and also to IGP. The title, on Malaysia Day, 2 Malaysian Indians and 1 British PR family were mere suspects, were shot dead by the police, and forced disappearance of the wife. SOS, stop police, in inverted commas, shoot to kill policy, and enforce disappearance under Pakatan Harapan's New Malaysia. Forthwith implement IPCMC, guns and bullets audit, and urgent appointment with IGP. As usual, they will not reply to my letter, doesn't matter. But this case, 4 people went out for dinner, 3 husband, wife. They came from UK. They are British PRs in Britain. They came. The brother is supposedly has got some cases against him, the brother and a friend. Okay, so they went out. At 1:40 in the morning, they received a location map from the sister, the one who came from UK, the British PR. They received a WhatsApp message. Early morning, they tried calling, no reply. They went to the site where the location map. They went to the place, they could not locate them. They found the car nearby. And then the next thing the police say, the 3, her husband, and the suspected criminal and another person has been shot dead by the police, and the wife disappeared. Just like that, she disappears in thin air. Where? I tak tahu. Where is the wife? We don't know. Okay? Yeah, I think you are right. Okay? And see, to me, I'm not sorry to say this. With regret, I say this lah. If these people were not, if they were, this effect, you're free to rebut me after this lah. If they were Malays, Chinese, or orang asli Kadazan Iban, it will take a different dimension. Okay, but because the victims are Indians, Lim Kit Siang did not utter a word. Goping Singh, yesterday some supporters said that Goping Singh was on the lorry when Kugan was killed in the lockup. Goping Singh was on the lorry. Goping Singh was my lawyer during my ISA days. So he went up the lorry. Sivarasa was there. Everybody was there. Everybody wrote on the Teo Beng Hok. On the 12th anniversary of Teo Beng Hok's death, there were 12 articles in Malaysia Kini. Okay? Whereas for this one, this death, there was 0. And I happened to meet Malaysia Kini senior reporter, and I told him this, and yesterday there were 2 articles, and for a check, I do not know why, the reporter was pro him, right? Malaysia Kini, if not for, I've told Malaysia Kini, if not for Malaysia Kini, probably I would have died in Penjara Kajang. They are my saviors. But when it comes to the people, the Indian masses, I reserve my comments. So I said, when I said that, the reporter kept asking me, look, this person has got 60 offences under his name. He served in Simpang Renggam, he served blah 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 blah. He's all his negative records. She's asking me. She's taking the line of, she appears to be cornering the wife. You answer now, whether he got record or not. Whether he got record or not, he is innocent until proven guilty. You arrest him alive, you shoot his legs, arrest him alive, put him before the court of law, let the court find him guilty, send him to the gallows. Very fair. That's the rule of law that Mahathir says. There's no law to shoot to kill. But she was so insistent, voices were raised, another reporter joined her, voices were raised, blah blah blah. And then she asked me, this is a question by the police.
Last 1 minute, sir.
Yeah, to me, question by the police. The questions to me were framed by the police. Given to her senior, I later put 2 and 2 together. Another, because I've been around for many years now, another reporter used to be in Malay Mail, pro-police those days. So through the police, give it to him. I'm not saying police have infiltrated Malaysia Kini, no. Put to him and he put the question to the reporter. Reporter asked. The last question she asked, what do you think was the case like? Why why this happened? I did not want to answer the question. I know it's the question from the police. Why should I answer? So to conclude, the conclusion is, what do we do now? The next, I went to my optician. You can see my glasses are quite new. I went to my optician. I asked him. He voted for Pakatan in the last general elections. I said, Mr. Lee, who are you going to vote in the next elections? I will not vote. Are you going to vote back? I'm not going to vote. Okay. So the conclusion is maybe a third force or a group of independents. And I will leave it at that. Thank you very much.